We cleared our own bank accounts very early.
I'm sure. Did you max out any like credit cards or anything?
All of them.
All of them.
Every
I
single
love it. It's not always about what you're making, it's about what you're becoming.
Right. Exactly.
And you wanted to become a developer, so at all costs.
You nailed it.
There were stories around the office where I would like lock myself in the conference room and just prospect all day. What I really wanted to do was be a developer, but I didn't know how to get there. Maybe we could just raise capital and then, that could be our way in.
And did it prove to be that way? What happens when two 20-somethings decide to take on the high-stakes world of real estate development with no roadmap, no safety net, and no fear? In this episode, we sit down with Daniel and Brenly, two startup real estate developers who are already tackling complex projects and learning how to navigate the unpredictable world of development. Now in their 30s, they share their honest experiences, from managing tight deadlines to dealing with unexpected setbacks, while embracing the mindset of no fire too big. Hear how their passion for transformation goes beyond renovating and developing buildings, creating communities and lifestyle experiences that leave a lasting impact. They also reveal how the challenges of real estate have shaped their personal lives, like helping them become more resilient, calm, and empathetic in everything they do. If you want a real look inside the life of young developers who are balancing the pressures of construction, politics, and personal growth, this episode is packed with insights and inspiration, plus a glimpse of their ambitious dreams, like someday developing internationally. Before you were doing real estate development, what were you doing?
We started out as real estate brokers. So Danny and I met at Provident Legacy, which is Issa's brokerage company.
Oh, okay, that's where you met?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Must have been 10 years ago.
2014, 2013.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
this was after the financial crisis of 2008.
Yeah, I got my
So it
license.
was already, the dust had settled, right?
Completely settled. We didn't know what that
Yeah.
was.
You didn't even know what that was.
Honestly, I don't even remember feeling it because I didn't fully understand it. And it was like right after. So we were walking into, what we didn't know at the time, a great market because there were so many things happening on an interest rate level. Like it would have been perfect to start a business at that point. But we were just brokers. We were just leasing apartments, selling homes.
That was like our university.
Okay.
So we threw ourselves.
And you both met there at that office.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We met there for the first time, and I tend to be like more of a serious guy. So I walked in, and then Danny was very like talkative, and then talking about the stock market and investing, and I'm just trying to like, do transactions.
So he was distracting you, right?
Yeah.
It's like, leave me alone, man. I'm trying to make money. I got to pay my bills.
I distract them today.
He does. I mean, it's just we have different personalities. So
Yeah, sure.
at the time, my personality was also a little bit different. I was a little bit more serious. Now, I'm more open, talkative, more charismatic. At the time, I was just very like focused. Like, this is what I'm gonna do.
You had to pay the bills, right?
I had to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And like there were stories around the office where I would like lock myself in the conference room and just prospect all day. But that was sort of like our journey. And we were like competing with each other as well. And then one day we decided, hey, why don't we start a business together? It was around Christmas. And then literally the next year, we just hit the ground running.
So what was that conversation like? Like who approached to it? Was it Daniel? Because he was the one.
Distracting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that, I think it was a combination. So
Yeah.
Brenly loved architecture. He loved all these things having to do with real estate. And I was studying finance at the time. And I was,
Where?
At NJCU.
Okay.
So I was a president of the Student Investment Management Club, the SIM Club. And there we pitch stocks. We try to convince the school to buy certain stocks with some money that the school had. So I think it was a combination of both things. Definitely what I wanted to do was invest in things And Brenly wanted to invest specifically in real estate or become an architect. That was his goal.
My original goal was like, let me be an architect, but then I didn't realize that I wanted to be more of a developer, because then it went from like a contractor to an architect to a developer. I didn't know what was what, because when you're first starting out as real estate, you know, Danny and I were talking about this earlier. Everyone thinks you just sell houses. Like they don't really understand. I want to be in real, that's too broad. So throughout the journey, I learned that being an architect is just drawing plans all day. That what I really wanted to do was be a developer, but I didn't know how to get there. And then Danny was very like, you know, oh, I want to just invest in stocks. I want to invest in this. You know, I want to have like a holding company. So it was kind of like a marriage between the two.
Yeah, and our approaches were different. So I tended to be the one that would jump off a cliff and I'll figure it out on the way down. And Brenly's kind of like, I need a plan. Figure it out. So I think the mixture of both of those things created something good, and that's what created Newick.
So what was that turning point where you're like, all right, we're gonna take that dive?
So the catalyst was Brenly and I were both working for investor clients, and our job for the investor clients was to knock on doors. Brenly and I were very hungry early on, and still are hungry today.
Investor clients in the real estate
brokerage side.
Like clients that would sell like apartment buildings, you know, things like
two families, three families, things like that.
We were knocking on those doors, and after a while, we're like, man, we're working a lot, and these properties, they're not really ours. We're putting a lot of hours for another investor, and ultimately, we at this point already knew where we wanted to go, and from that moment where we realized, okay, we want to get into development. Everything that we did was a learning experience. So we started soaking everything in like a sponge. Who were the lenders, how the investors spoke to the lenders, what they needed from the realtors, what information they needed.
So you were observing them.
We observed them. That became like our university.
Right.
Because it was, a lot of it was like the hardest part from that transition that you're saying, from being like a realtor into the investment world, is that sometimes as a realtor, you get like stuck on the transaction side. And, you know, us coming up as 20-year-olds, you know, we were never taught like the investment side, like, oh, you got to put capital to work or this and that. So a lot of it was like, okay, so we sell enough to save money. And then once we have our money saved, then we can start investing. But the real like breakthrough came when Danny and I started learning more about capital raising, because some of the investors that we were dealing with were also raising capital. We were reading books, and then it talked about raising capital. So then at that point, you know, Danny was like, oh, I know somebody with money. You know, we knew people with money. We were already realtors, successful realtors. So we already had investors that were already our clients, attorneys, lenders, title companies. So we had these relationships. And when we started to learn about raising capital, that's what made us think maybe we could just raise capital, and then, you know, that could be our way in.
Right. And did it prove to be that way?
It did.
Yeah. And what was the first deal like?
So the first deal was a deal that we found in maybe 3 months after we started. We door knocked intensely. Yeah. Our strategy was focused more on like foreclosures and short sales. And those kind of properties. So
you were trying to find like distressed deals.
That was our focus.
Right. And that was a good time because it was 2014. It was after the crisis.
It was a great time. We
didn't know it.
Yeah, we
You were in it.
I know.
We were in it, and we benefited greatly from it. But our first deal we found, it was on in Jersey City on Clinton, and it was a single family house, distressed property. We ended up getting the property under contract for a really good price. And at this point, we didn't know, the beautiful thing is we didn't know that people had money, right? So we needed, I think, $60,000 or $70,000 to buy this place. We look at each other, we're like, how are we gonna get this done? And to us, coming from where we come from, you know, our families aren't wealthy.
Well, before you get to that, It was like funny because like when our offer got accepted and we negotiated the short sale, like we didn't know what to do. And we didn't really know what we were doing. So then Danny and I are looking at each other like, oh crap, our offer got accepted. We got to close in 30 days. So it was like the first rush. And then, then
Ever since then, everything else has been a rush.
Yeah. So this was like a fixer-upper? Is that what
It was a fixer-upper. We were fortunate enough to buy the property. We put something like $20,000 into it, and we sold it right away. Yeah, the person we sold it to actually was one of the tenants in the property.
So take me through the numbers. Like, what were the numbers like at that point? I mean, this is your first deal, so
Right, we bought it.
approximately.
We should have kept everything.
Yeah.
Right, I want to lead off with that. But we bought it for $50,000. We ended up putting about $20,000 into it and selling it for about $190.
190. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the profit?
After interest
like
and
90
everything,
grand?
probably like 90 or 100 grand.
All right. So then you did that. And what was like at that point when you saw that you made money, did you feel like, all right, this is good. This is the thing.
maybe this could work, right?
Right? Did that give you like a rush of energy?
It did, but it gave us a rush even before we closed on it because before we even sold that property, I think we had 2 or 3 others under contract.
Yeah.
So it was like we said, a rush from the minute that we got that accepted and closed on it. We're like, crap, people would invest in distressed properties and we can make them money
Yeah.
while improving neighborhoods. So that was the initial catalyst. We're like, okay, we got something here.
So you paid everybody back. They were happy.
Yep.
And you started to build those relationships.
And we did it again and again.
How many of those did you do?
To date, I think we're at maybe 26 or 28.
Okay. So those were like quick flips, not too much work, right? But you did have projects where there was a lot of work.
Yeah, there was a lot. Well, one thing turns into another. Probably like with you, you buy one property and you change the carpet. The next one, you change the carpet and paint. The next one, you're tearing out everything. So our company progressed the same way. So the first deal was simple, quick, easy. Second one, somewhat. Next thing you know, we're tearing down properties and
They got
building up
harder
new
and harder.
Right.
Harder and harder. And then they sort of became more complicated too. So it started out as renovations. Eventually they turned into new construction. And then once we started doing new construction, we figured we should have started new construction from the beginning. And on top of that, we should have kept all of those properties. But
Yeah. Well, I know.
You seem sad, Ben.
Was that?
You seem sad.
Well, I mean, we had
that's every
we had a ton of
developer's dream,
properties
right?
in downtown where we were buying for like $100 grand. That's it. And those houses are worth, $1 million to $1.5 million each, right? So if we would have kept every one, it would have been great. But you need the money, right?
Yeah.
You need the money.
that's life.
You need to pay the bills. And you guys were already doing this full time, right?
Yeah. Because
Like that was your thing. You were no longer doing real estate sales, or were you doing that too?
For very little. For a very little amount of time, they overlap.
Okay.
Yeah, like we kept our license active, but then it was difficult to do both. And then, we also wanted to specialize in development because, we began with the end in mind. We knew that we wanted more impact. We knew we wanted more transformation. We knew that we wanted more change. So we felt like focusing on development was probably going to be worth our while instead of trying to do both because it's hard to do both.
Right.
And at the time, we were also taking investors' money. So once you start taking investor money, you're fully responsible for it. You have to make sure you take care of it the right way. So us being involved in real estate transactions and also doing the scale that we were doing, it was just going to get in the way.
Right. And did you have any of your own money in there?
We did.
Yeah, we did. We started out with we started, on the soft cost.
So you got the project rolling with your own
we kind
money.
of prepared it
Right.
and took the risk away for the investor.
Okay.
And we cleared our own bank accounts very early.
I'm sure. Did you max out any like credit cards or anything?
All of them.
All of them. I love it.
Yeah, every single one of them.
That's great. High interest, 29%.
Yeah, that's what the book said to do.
Yeah,
Back in the
Really?
day.
Is
Yeah,
that
just
right?
get it done. The books don't take into account the time, right?
Yeah.
So they say, okay, you could, sell a house in 3 months. Cool. Interest for 3 months is not terrible. But then when it becomes 6, 9, 12,
Or when there's a delay, right?
Yeah.
What happens then? You start sweating.
forget
it's
about
tough.
it. So that was a not so good strategy, but
Yeah.
it got us through.
Well, it got you to the point where you learned, even if you didn't make what you wanted to make,
Right.
you learned the process, right?
And that's the most important thing.
That's right.
Yeah, I think everybody in this room's made an abundance of mistakes.
Sure, of course. It's not always about what you're making. It's about what you're becoming,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And you wanted to become a developer. So at all
nailed
costs,
it. You nailed it. And what we were able to learn from each and every one of those mistakes,
right?
it just makes us more valuable every step of the way.
Exactly.
Well,
So-
also I learned too that when you're raising capital, a lot of times the investor wants to see that you have skin in the game.
Sure.
So when we say like, hey, we did this, and that, it makes them more comfortable because then now they know, or they believe in the deal because we believe in the deal too.
Of course.
So that helped out.
I mean, it helps that you start the projects by putting in your own money, right?
Right.
So at what point did you go from flipping houses to building new construction?
I think when the market started to change in Jersey City, and then also when we ran into an opportunity where there was like an empty site, like an old garage, and then we pretty much decided to, just jump off the cliff and do it. We felt we were ready because
So how many flips did it take to get to that new construction?
close to 20, right?
20, really?
Somewhere around there, maybe
Okay.
somewhere in the late teens.
Yeah, like late
Okay.
teens, around there. Because we were already doing massive renovations. Like some of the renovations that we were doing,
They were like full guts.
yeah, full gut,
They
ripped
were
out.
more difficult than the new construction.
Right.
Yeah, they were like, we were just leave them down to the foundation and start from scratch. So we thought, like, hey, we might as well, how much harder could it be, if we were to do this? So when the opportunity came, there was a lot of cushion. So we felt that because of the cushion that was on there, it made sense for us to just try it now.
And we've always been a very value-driven company. So from the very beginning, some of the things that got us into the business of finding distressed properties were having the end buyer in mind. So we would buy properties that people could afford when we sold them.
Right.
So when we got into new construction, the Jersey City went through a small renaissance, or our neighborhoods in Jersey City went through a small renaissance where condos were now, a popular product. So we were able to provide value on the condo side with new construction because you were able to buy it for a better price, build it for a better price when it comes to like a per square foot, and then also deliver that value to the end buyer as well.
Right.
So at every point, we kind of tried to deliver as much value as we could.
When you were starting that new construction, like what was it that made you decide like, okay, this is better than doing rehabs or flips? Like what was the thing that said
think,
to you like it made you click?
It was very predictable. Like, although it was our first one, we felt like, oh, you're just doing the foundation. Oh, you're just doing framing. Oh, you're just doing this. You're just doing that. Where when you're doing renovations, you're dealing with the thing behind the wall. You're dealing with the warped, beams that you didn't really expect. And then from the financing side, at one point too, new construction was easier to finance from banks because they would offer almost 100% of construction on the financing, and then a smaller piece on the land. When you're doing renovations, it's a different calculation that they do.
Right. And for clarity, for example, land, right? Let's say you buy a piece of land for $200,000 and the bank's requiring you for 20% of that. And then they're going to lend 100% on the construction. You're only responsible for that 20%. Let's say you do the same thing with a large rehab, except because there's a building there, say the building costs you $600,000. And now you have to bring 20% of that $600,000.
Right.
So it's a little bit harder to scale when you're doing rehabs.
Right, because the purchase of the acquisition is much larger.
Yeah.
Because you already have a building there.
Yeah. And to Brenly's point, it's just more predictable. Outside of like, finding something in the dirt or a bad contractor,
Right.
You're pretty much, you could predict every stage and how long it's going to take you.
Right. Now, are you self-performing these things? Are you the GC or are you hiring a GC?
It's a mix.
Yeah, it's a we GC'd a lot of our own in the beginning, so we have the experience where we can just have somebody else take the lead on it.
Right.
And watch them closely.
Right. And what were your challenges like along the way? Like when you went from flipping houses, which I'm sure was a little easier, then you went into new construction. Like, were there any like major challenges when you went into that new construction?
There were, but before we get into that, so the word flipping, right?
Sure.
So this is something also that I think is very important because we're talking about transitions and all this good stuff. I think that we also, before the new construction, right before we got to the new construction, there was a pivotal place in our company where we had to transition. And we were actually discussing this maybe a week ago where we're like, okay, what makes a flipper and what makes a developer? And when did that transition happen for us? And a flipper to us is somebody who's maybe doing it for profit only, right? You're coming into a property, you're cleaning up the carpet, then you're putting it back on the market. And then a developer is somebody who has a longer term vision for the project, for the neighborhood, for the community. And I think before we got into the new construction, actually way before, pretty much the inception of our company, our purpose was to really have Newark be a stage for transformation. And I think that the difference between a flipper and a developer is the purpose. So a developer, I think, has a longer term vision and has more to offer a community than a flipper.
Okay.
Back to your question. I forgot what it was.
The question was
Challenges.
what were the challenges of when you went from flipping to building new construction, or if you want to call it development, right?
It could be.
Right, it could be.
It could be.
You want to hear about what my definition is?
I would love to. Let's hear it.
Okay, I think I mentioned that at that event with the
interview for the
I think you
the
did.
award ceremony.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, a developer is a person that takes a property or something, right, and transforms it from something into something else, right? So if you're taking whatever kind of building it is, right, even if it's like a 20 unit building, right, and you just go in and you tell the tenants, hey, we're going to fix up the buildings, change the windows, and then raise the rents. You're sort of like an investor, flipper sort of thing, right? But if you take an office building and which has like 100,000 square feet of office, and then you transform it into apartments, then there's that development aspect involved because you're taking something and turning it into something else, or you're taking nothing and turning it into something, right?
Right. Vision.
Correct, right. So the word development is kind of like, you're creating something from something else or from nothing, right?
Right.
That's my opinion of what a developer is,
They're both very similar.
Yeah, we're both very similar.
Require a vision for both.
Sure. And, but, to your comment with the developing a community, that could also happen while it seems like maybe you're flipping a building, right? You could take, for example, a 1,000 unit building, right? And then take it from an investor who wasn't thinking of a community, was just purely thinking of making money and a very dry community. And then you as a developer come in and said, I'm gonna put a pool, and I'm gonna put a club room, and I'm gonna start building a community. Now you're taking this thing and transforming it into a community. So I think the word transformation plays together with development, right?
Right.
But back to the question, what was challenging? Like, what were some of the challenges you faced when you were going from flipping to developing new construction? Were there like any major hurdles that you were up against?
At the beginning, it was like a new product because it's sort of new construction now. It's no longer a renovation. So I think some of the challenges we're dealing with, the little nuances, like protection plans, not to get too technical. But when you're doing new construction now, you gotta do like sewer lines and water lines. So just on the construction side in general, you gotta hire more professionals or better professionals, if you will, because once you sell it, you have to provide a warranty, and then you don't want to deal with people calling you afterwards because another comment I have on differentiating a flipper from a developer is that developers tend to have, like the good ones, brands. So I feel like a flipper doesn't really have a brand, so they'll just put up a carpet, leave, go on to the next one, and you'll never find this guy ever again. But if someone has a brand and they're building your home or your property, like now they have a responsibility. So if you do call, they have to come back. And one of the challenges that we faced was that we had to be better at what we did, which is on the construction side where we have to build a little bit better, more quality, better quality, and better contractors so that we could avoid an issue in the future, in addition to just offering better value. And I think that's just probably one of them.
That's one of them. And I think that another one of them is trust. So trust not from the buyer, but also from the person investing in your project or the lender. So typically when you go into like a new construction, I don't know what it is, but everybody tends to think that it's like you're building the Taj Mahal. So you go from, developing these deeply distressed properties where you gut them to the bone. Maybe there's only like half a foundation wall up, and you complete that project. But then when it comes to new construction, there's a problem because you've never done one before. So I think one of our hurdles early on was kind of proving our experience. Like, hey guys, we can actually do this. We've done
it before.
Yeah, we've done 10 of these that were much worse than this. This is going to be a piece of cake, but nobody believes you at the time until you actually do it. So it's like, hey, we're not going to give you the money because you've never done a new construction on one end.
Or you got to hire a consultant and oversee or something.
Right. Or bring in experience.
You were selling the new construction, correct?
We were selling.
Yeah.
Right. So when you looked for a buyer, did they ever question and say like, who are these builders? What have they built before?
I think they did.
They did. I think we realized at that point that people actually like look you up. So then, some of the buyers would say, oh, I went to your website.
Or I went to your open house.
Yeah. I
went another property.
Right. Yeah. Like a while back, I went to that, or, I saw you guys on social media. So then we realized that, it's a different market. So then, these buyers are actually, doing their due diligence on the company that's selling it.
Absolutely. And if you have a track record, you'll actually get more money, I think.
I think so.
Than if you're like the first time you're building something. Right.
Buyers do care.
They do care, yeah. All right, so you had that challenge with buyers, you had it with investors. Were there anyone else you had that challenge with? Like, for example, the contractors. You talk about trust, right?
Oh yeah.
If you were building new construction for the first time and you're hiring either a GC or you're GCing yourself and you're getting subs.
So something very early on, even before we got into the new construction and the development side of things, something that Brenly and I have always had to fend for ourselves on is people believing us, right? Because we were 21, 22 at the time. These contractors, they're savvy. They're savvy. They know how to get around certain things.
Slick.
Yeah.
Right.
They're slick, right?
They are slick.
And they see these
smart.
They see these 21, 22-year-old kids at the time, right? So these guys are like, okay, we're gonna get one on.
Yeah, we're gonna pull a fast one.
Brenly and I have always had to constantly just like defend them. And these kids, they have access to hundreds of thousands of dollars for this project. Let me get into this, right?
Sure.
So we've had to like protect ourselves, like kind of keep a shell.
And how did you do that? Lawyers?
A lot of mistakes, but a lot of it was, holding back payments on certain things and just kind of being a little rougher on the edges just so that we don't get messed with as much. Remember, we were very young at the time.
Yeah. Tell me about one, like, can you recall some mistakes? I want to hear about the mistakes. Like, let's hear it.
Opening up a can of
This is the war room. Like, we want to hear.
I love mistakes.
The audience wants to know.
I love
what are the mistakes?
There's a lot. I mean, the first one that I think...
You name one.
Well, one of them that I think hurt us the most was when we were just starting out and
I already know what you're going to say. Don't let me relive this.
Listen, I got a whole journal of mistakes, so
well, this
it's
one
okay.
was,
Don't
was
be shy.
tough because, we're just starting out. We're wide-eyed and naive, right? Just ready to take on the world and ready to make mistakes because, a famous quote is fail fast. And we like to follow that in our company. Like, you're going to fail regardless, so fail fast and learn quickly from it. So we met this person who we trusted, and they had a construction company at the time, and this person was almost like family. So we said, all right, cool, you can handle the project, and then Danny and I can focus on finding more opportunities and raising the capital, and then it could be a good thing, and then this person could be like our trusted GC.
Yeah, like your operations guy.
Yeah, like our operations guy, just handle the GC. It's our, our first project, or our second one, because we already successfully did the first one, if you're wondering where the money went. So we ended up doing the second project, and then the guy wanted like an $80,000 deposit or something like that. And we trusted that person, so we gave it to this person. And then every single day he's giving us updates. And then Danny drives by the property. He's like, hey, Brenly, there's nobody here today. There hasn't been anybody here.
Oh, I know that feeling.
In weeks. Like, where's the money going? So then, like, we're following up, and then it turns out that, we kind of had to take the project back and take it on ourselves.
Yeah.
And then, the money that we kind of gave away just either disappeared, or we tried working it with this person to getting it back, little by little. But, right away we learned that you can't, be ahead on payments and behind on work.
Sure.
Sort of have to do the opposite. You have to be ahead on ahead on work and behind on payments.
Yep.
And then that's when we learned the value of not giving a large deposit up front.
Right.
And then also, be careful, who you work with, whether you trust them, whether they're family or not. Sometimes, family, I'm not saying this person was family. I'm just saying in general, you just have to be
family
careful.
or friends.
Or friends.
Right.
Yeah, that are in the business. They'll say, oh, why don't you give us the listings? It's not that simple.
Sure.
Because, we do have to make sure that, we perform not only for the company, but for the buyers, the investors, the community, everyone involved.
Right. So now when you move forward, like, what do? You don't give a deposit, or like, no, it's fine. I mean, look, we don't. I don't give deposits.
It depends. So you're right.
I don't give any deposits.
There's
The way I see it is that if I'm hiring a GC or any contractor, right, and they say, well, I need a deposit of $100,000 because I need to buy the material, right? Is that what they do? I need to buy the material. I need to buy the material, and I say to them, well, do you have credit? Like you have a supply house. Have they not extended credit to you? Like every good GC or contractor should have like $500,000 worth of credit. If they don't have that credit, they're not the right guy.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Right?
Right. What are we doing? Right. Exactly. So sometimes I'd rather pay more, even if that guy that wants a deposit gave you a better price.
Yep.
Right. Which is likely the reason why you went towards them. Mm-hmm. I'd rather pay more for the guy who has a credit line at the supply house.
Yeah. And we do a mix of both right now because our company is transitioning. So we're doing a lot of condo buildings, and we're also getting into mixed use projects as well. But we have a lot of people who just go, they do their job, and then they get paid at the end. Mm-hmm. And we have a mix. There's some people who need deposits, and
sure. And now you have probably more bank financing, right? Where you have like A1A requisites and they have to go with the retainage is there.
For the larger
all that
projects,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
Right, so we were able to build that over time,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of it's reputation, right? Because on their end and then reputation on your end.
Mm-hmm.
So the same way that we've all probably been screwed over, I can probably imagine that these guys have really, really tough skin because at some point somebody didn't pay them and they advanced work or something.
Or they just have bad habits. You could have contractors that have a drug addiction.
Right.
I've read somewhere where, contractors are like, it's the industry where like the most drug addiction is.
Really?
Because of stress and,
Ooh, I didn't know
anxiety and the lack of education in the industry. A lot of guys who don't go to school go into construction.
Right. And there's so much money to be made in construction.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
You just have to do it right.
Right. So there's that. And then there's gambling. I've heard of people, I've had people who have taken their money and like right after they get paid, I stay ahead of them. Right. But then you pay them and then they disappear for like,
We've seen that.
a week. Where is he? He went to Las Vegas, and he's like hanging out. You'll see him in like on Facebook or on Instagram, hanging out and doing some crazy stuff. And then you got to try to like get them back. You got to wait till they run out of money, which is pretty quick.
You always have to make sure that you're in a position where you've got the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, meaning like they have to need you a little bit more than you need them. I know it's tough to say, right?
Yeah, it's tough to say. It almost sounds like you're being mean, but it's you're really not.
Right.
I mean, I have those challenges sometimes with my own kids. Like if you give them too much money, right, or too much lunch money, let's say, they could disappear on you. You know what I mean? It's like, where are you? I gave, well, you gave me $100 and now he's like, treating his friends and right. So I'm like, oh man, I better not give him I'll give him $10 a day, just enough.
I laugh because this also works the opposite way. Because if you give like an investor too good of a return, they're gonna have that expectation.
Mm-hmm. There's no way back.
So you got to find the right balance.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
That's also something that we've learned. So we in our business, there's been ups and downs. There's times where we really need the capital. There's times where we don't need it as much.
Right.
And the times where we really need it, our investors get a little bit better of a rate or uninvestor.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Or has been a mistake at some point in our business.
You see how fun mistakes are to talk about. So let's hear some more. Like what else? What about on the financial side?
Not having reserves is a big one, and it's been a big one, especially early on in our development career. Mm-hmm. During COVID, we were developing a property on Bergen Avenue in Jersey City, and we got hit with 50% LTVs. Right? It's June. Nobody's lending. If they are, they're just giving you half of what they usually would give you.
Right.
This is a property that we bought for like nothing. We bought it for $200,000. It was a small mixed use project with 4 apartments. We did the work. We're done. Now it's 2020 and we want to refinance and everything is dry. When we were completed with the project, it took us to like the last cent to complete it.
And we were already late on the construction financing. So like that loan was almost like, I think we did already an extension or 2. So it was getting to the very...
We had to move. We had to. And we didn't have reserves. The bank wanted reserves to give us money. And, and we said, we want the money so we could have reserves.
Why don't you take the reserves and just use it for the project?
Because I remember Daniel was on the phone with the bank. And then she was like, oh, you guys need liquidity to get the loan. And then Daniel was like, exactly. So we want to refinance so we can get the liquidity so then we can get the loan.
Right.
and keep in mind, our loan on the project was like $300,000.
There was so much equity in that thing.
It was only $300,000. It's probably worth like $800,000.
Yeah.
And we were just trying to get a little bit.
Was it a private lender or was it a like institutional lender? You don't have to say it.
Institution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we wanted a permanent loan at that point. So we were just trying to get a fair rate, get the construction loan out, get our money out, because then we also had our own personal funds or the company funds in there, just because we didn't have enough reserves. It ended up just stop the other projects. Whatever we had, we just had to finish this so that we can refinance. And then just the temperature.
Do you want to hear what we learned from this?
What did you learn?
We ended up selling it, by the way, for anybody wondering. But what we learned from it was that you don't necessarily have to have the liquidity yourself. If Brenly and I said, "Hey, Uncle Ben, you've got great credit, you've got great liquidity, you have a great track record with your bank,
good net worth, all that.
You're good. Uncle Ben, we'll give you 20% of our project. It's already done. It's cash flowing. You get 20%. Help us refinance, and we'll be partners."
Yeah, of course.
We would have been able to keep 80% of our deal. We would have been able to refinance what we got from selling it anyway, because we had to pay taxes on it. And we would have kept it.
Yeah.
And it would have strengthened our balance sheet for the next one.
Right.
The other lesson,
big lesson.
The other lesson too is that
Call Uncle Ben next time.
Yeah, next time. Another important lesson there too is that our network at the time wasn't able to give us this information. So
Your network?
our network,
okay.
the
People we would go for advice. And
Okay.
Yeah,
that was going to be my next question is along the way with all these challenges that you faced or the mistakes you were going through, like where did you go for answers?
we would go to our network, I guess, to people that, some of the investors that probably don't have a full understanding of like creative financing or how partnerships work, because some people, that have money, a lot of them are, I want to do it all myself, or, they're not very like partnership minded.
Yeah.
So we did have like several mentors that we would go to, or we would go to like events or like networking events, and we would like ask around. And then we just never really got the answer until like years later when we started to learn more about partnerships and structuring partnerships and things like that. We're like, man, we could have done this with, with that.
Your typical investor doesn't think that way.
Right.
They think, I don't have the liquidity, I don't have the track record, I have to sell.
Right.
So for us, that was actually very eye-opening. We don't need all the tools necessary to do the job. If we have a good amount of them, there's somebody else that has it. So whether
Strategic partnerships.
Right. We need something, we have something. We could have made a deal that way, but the past is the past.
Yeah.
That was a big one on the financing end, but we learned a lot from it.
Right.
We learned about partnerships. We don't need to own everything 100%. Partnerships are good. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do.
When did that happen? Was that a while ago?
That project was in 2020.
2020. Okay, 4 years ago.
But after, it takes a while for these things to bake in your head.
Yeah. I mean, we had a deal not too long ago where we just ran out of money because, with the bank financing, just because of inflation happened with the supply chain issue, with the pandemic, right? You guys were going through the same stuff, probably on the same deal, right?
Yeah, triple threat.
Right, exactly. Interest rates were doubled, right? So what we did, we just went back to our investors, right? So we had raised maybe $2 million on this deal, and all of a sudden we needed another $500,000, right?
Right.
But we needed to maintain our liquidity for the bank, right? Because every year they do like an audit to see like how much money you have, right? So in order to maintain our liquidity, we couldn't use our own money towards the deal. So we just went back to our investors and we said, look, if you want us to get to the finish line and not sell this thing halfway done and lose money, everybody needs to pony up their fair portion of their investment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we divided it up we did a capital call amongst all the investors, and that was it, right? And
I wish you would have known that in 2020.
Yeah, call Uncle Ben, man. Anytime. I'm always here for you.
Yeah. It's good that we have a deal good enough to allow for a capital call.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good ingredient to have.
Yeah, and I would also say that, like when you're getting investors and, whatever they're investing, whether it's $100,000 or $200,000, $500,000, or even $1 million, right? Like, I would say don't just look to them to see if they have the money, right? Look to them to see if they have the money and they are able to give another amount of capital when you need it, right? Make sure they're substantial and that they're not investing their last 50 grand, right? Those are not the investors we want to deal with.
Right.
Guys that are constantly making a good amount of money, like doctors, lawyers, or developers or something like that, who have the capital behind them. So when you do have a disaster, they can come through for you,
Yeah, a lot of our developer is somebody who deals with constant disasters.
That's exactly right.
And just like we see ourselves as managers of a business plan for every project.
Yeah.
So one project, it could be selling 4 condos. We need to be at this price, and we need to be done at this time, and the quality of finishes have to be like this.
Right.
So that's a business plan in itself. There's multiple.
Right.
There's an entire array of them.
So when you wanted to become a developer, did you know that it was going to be this glorious?
No. So what we saw at the time, we were like, man, the impact that we can have, right?
You're like, you look at those guys with the suits on, right? Driving the nice cars.
Building these huge buildings.
For us, it was like there's a sandwich shop on the corner in that new building. That's an amenity the neighborhood has never had. We can do that. So that was like our thing. Or like, there's a supermarket now coming to this area, developers, incorporating it in their building. Those were like the awesome things we were really attracted to. But no, we never had we didn't have the foresight to see that we just put out fires. Yeah. We do more than that, but
of course.
Because a lot of it too is like what was inspiring is about development is like you see a site with nothing on there, and then out of nowhere there's a building now. So that was like, wow, how did that happen? And then not just a building, but a building with a purpose and a function, like a school. So now, there's education happening. So like it made something into nothing. So the idea of creating something into nothing, that was like so fascinating to us.
Right. The creative process.
Yeah, just the creative process. And like, man, like that really made an impact on that corner where there was nothing. And like now there's something there. Like that was like mind-blowing. So we said, let's do it.
And the journey's been beautiful. I mean, even the building that we are in now, just the restaurant downstairs and the site
this building.
This building.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got White Eagle Hall right next door. So that is the essence of development. It created something for this community.
Sure, it's fun.
It's fun, and it brings it alive. What was here before, right?
People wonder.
It wasn't lively.
Yeah. There was a mechanic shop, an abandoned building.
Right. With
an eyesore.
Beautiful stained glass that used to be a basketball court.
Right.
So the vision to transform those things into what they are today, that's what really kept us going, or keeps us going even today.
So you went from this, fixing homes, flipping them, building new construction, which I assume was like 1-2 family houses, right?
Yeah.
So what about today? Like, where are you today
in
terms of like the amount of development that you're doing?
So we range from 3 units all the way to 44 units, which we have a milestone project, the Harmony House, which is mixed use, mixed income right here in Jersey City.
How many units did you say?
44.
44.
With a commercial retail on the first floor.
Okay. How many square feet of retail?
1,800.
Do you have a vision of what you want that retail to be?
We do. We want it to be a restaurant, something that livens up the neighborhood. So that's the development bone in us that says we could make a difference on this corner. And we really want something to increase the traffic in that area specifically. It's in a distressed commercial corridor, and we think that project could be a beaming light for other projects to kind of get going as well.
And is that your biggest project?
That is our largest project. Yeah.
You mentioned another deal that you were doing aside from that was a little bit smaller, right?
Yeah. That one is a 7-unit small not condo, but a loft style building. Yeah, we're really excited about that one.
Yeah. So what phases are you in at those 2 projects?
Well, one of them we're about to get through planning board, which was...
Which one?
The 44 units.
The Harmony House.
The Harmony House.
And the other one, we are getting plans drawn up now.
Now you're going from these 1 to 2 family houses, right?
Yeah.
To 44 units. Like, tell me how that feels.
That was also like a huge milestone because it's a whole different ball game.
Right.
That's when we had to take a crash course on partnerships, how to structure, general partners, limited partners.
For very, very delicate things. So for a project that big, if you mess up in the beginning, it reverberates all the way through.
Right.
So it's about really being careful in the very beginning.
Right.
Because it's like also mirrored of things. Like when you're doing a 2-family, you're just going to the building department and, you call it a day. But when you're doing Harmony House, like you're going to the community, it takes more upfront capital to just even have a concept of something, more underwriting.
There are more things outside of your control.
Yeah, a lot more.
Completely out of our control. And one thing that we learned there was planning board. So for the 1 and 2, 3, 4 families, we never really had to go through anything like that. But when it comes to, a larger project, in Jersey City here, it's over 10,000 square feet, you have to go to a planning board. And for us at the stage that we were, planning board was something that was like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't do that.
The name that shall not be said.
Yeah. Like, don't do this, don't do that, because, you're going to trigger planning board. You're going to trigger a variance.
And everyone would say, oh, you're going to be in planning board for like 2 years or like a year. And we're like, oh, it's not worth it for like a small project.
Right. So for a long time, we didn't do larger projects, even though we had the capability, we had the capital behind us, because of the fear of having to go through planning board.
Yeah.
Even though you'll get a great result from it, at the time we didn't know that. So
But I think the good thing about Jersey City is that in comparison to other towns, Jersey City does a really good job at having a redevelopment plan in place that tells you exactly what you can and can't do. So a part of what made us move forward with Harmony House was that the redevelopment plan gave us a very clear guideline of you could do this, you could do that. So it was easier for us to step into that. So I don't want people to think that you kind of just blindly go into something.
Sure.
In other towns, they don't have redevelopment plans. They don't have redevelopment zones. A lot of it is bureaucratic or political. You got to talk to the mayor who knows the other guy in the back room, and he might be able to make that happen. And if you read through the redevelopment plans of some towns, they're not clear, so you don't really know what to do. So you do have to be a little careful with those. But we were already very comfortable in Jersey City because of our experience and because of the municipality code where it tells you exactly what you could do, because we're not necessarily asking for variances. We're not asking for anything out of the ordinary here. It sounds like a large project. It's 44 units, but you're allowed to do that within the code. And that made us feel comfortable to put the upfront capital. And that also made our investors comfortable because, it's a sure thing almost.
Sure. Now with, with doing the smaller deals, the house flipping that you did, the new construction, the 1 to 2 family houses, you talked about some of the mistakes that you made, right? Which like the contractor who walked away with 80 grand, right?
Yeah.
And that deal, that new construction project that he was working on was, what was the size of that project?
That was a single family house.
Single family. So what was it, like 300 grand, 400 grand?
Yeah, it was like 300 or 400 total.
Okay, right. So 300 or 400 grand. So now you're walking into this 44 unit building, which is probably going to cost you what, 12 million?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
12 million.
Just
right?
about.
Just about.
Just about.
So like, are you prepared for big mistakes? Like, what are you doing to guard yourself against major catastrophes? Because now it's not about the guy walking away with $80,000. Now this could be, somebody walking away with or screwing up like on $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Right. And one thing is, you're right.
Right. So do you think about like the things that can go wrong, and how do you protect yourself?
We do. We constantly dream about it. Or we have nightmares about it.
Right.
So we wake up in the middle of the night and say, did we get the insurance for this guy, or is this guy the right guy? So All jokes aside, what we look for to avoid those same mistakes are the right people. So with a deal of our size now, we're actually able to hire better consultants. We're able to hire better engineers, very vetted, guys that have websites and their own fleet of trucks. So these are much more reputable companies that we get to deal with now, that on the smaller scale of things, you don't really get that. So, and also contracts. So these contracts are looked over by maybe 2 lawyers to make sure that we are good to go on.
Right. And do you have the same as you had some mentors or people that you looked up to before? Do you have other people that you're looking for guidance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're one of them.
Well, besides me, I'm sure there's other.
So we've had a ton of we wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't have the people surrounding us that we do.
Right.
Paul Silverman, one of them, he's been incredibly generous with information. Kenny Pasternak from Caber. We've been able to tap him for information, or have lunch every once in a while. So guys like that really kind of influence us significantly. They make us believe that we can do it, because
You can.
Yeah.
Right.
They give us confidence or information, or we spoke with Eugene too. He's like, oh, why don't you do this or that? So I think our mentors giving us the confidence, gives us the confidence to actually just say, okay, whatever happens. Let's go for it. And, they also taught us about doing background checks too on these guys. So
Right.
we asked you a couple of times, hey, what do you think about so-and-so? Or, we'll ask Paul, hey, we're looking at this GC. What do you guys think? Because now we're sort of in the same playground a little bit. So, now, you guys have a little bit more experience with us, and bad news travels quick. So if somebody walked away with something, I'm sure you would know, and you would say, hey, stay away from this guy.
Yeah, sure.
That's our form of a credit check.
Yeah.
Hey, Ben, have you worked with so-and-so? And there's only a handful of guys that do certain work, right? There's a certain amount of people who can take care of foundations here in our town, and concrete companies and so on.
Yep. You want to leverage your network as much as you can.
Of course.
Right?
100%.
Yeah. The development community in Jersey City is pretty large.
Yeah.
And, there's just because of the redevelopment plan and where the city's been going over the past few decades, there's so many developers that you can tap into to figure out who's who.
Right.
In
or
this
who
industry.
you worked with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And another piece of advice I would give you is just to, research all the things that can go wrong in these deals, in our business plans, when we give out our business plan or an investment deck to our investors, we literally go through all the things as far as for disclosure, let them know these are all the things that can happen and how we're going to deal with it. It's almost like having a contingency plan, right? So it's if interest rates go up, this is what we're going to do, right? If the cost of construction goes up, if these tariffs that are coming in, right?
Yeah.
The policies are going to change soon. How are you going to deal with it?
Labor shortages,
right? Mass deportations, what's going to happen, right? How are you going to deal with every little single thing? Write it out if you have to. Write out a whole, spend a night or a couple of nights and just do some major research. Just try to think of all the things that can go wrong and ask all your mentors, what can go wrong? What has gone wrong with you, right? In the past, because you just got into this before 2008, right? So you're part of the glory days, right?
Right.
Whereas guys like me or Paul Silverman, for example, we've been through 2 cycles, so we've seen what hell looks like. So you have to kind of understand what could happen if you're in the middle of this $12 million project. What could go wrong?
And
all the little things. Think
guys
about
that are active too, because I remember you and I were having a conversation, And I was like, hey, we're thinking we're gonna break ground on this date. And you're like, I don't know, because architects are taking
Right.
6 to 8 months. And then we hit the panic button, and we're like,
Was I right?
we got ahead of it.
You got ahead of it?
Yeah, we got ahead of it. Yeah, because it was panic button. Like that's a red flag.
Right.
So that's something that we're constantly doing even now. Like even coming into it, just having like these casual conversations about our timelines and our, like our structure and things like that. And then, you'll say a tip here and there, like, hey, make sure it's really, this time and not, 6 to 8 months, because this is what I'm going through.
Sure.
Then someone else is going through something else. And then we kind of put it together and we'll get ahead of it and say, hey, you got to finish in this time, or, something's going to happen.
Some kind of penalty or something.
Right. So that's exciting. So from this 44 unit, what do you see for your future, like down the line? If you could see yourself 10 years from now, where do you want to be?
I think we never saw Noik as just a real estate company. I don't know if this will happen 10 years from now or not, but we see it more of a lifestyle sort of company. And, real estate development is the vehicle. So we would love to do more Harmony houses, more interesting, more fun projects like a White Eagle Hall one day, or, something, like how you have downstairs, or maybe like a ski resort.
Like a community-based type thing. So you like community. That's what I'm reading from you guys. You have a passion for, or a love for community.
We have a passion and love for transformation.
Okay.
So I think community definitely is a byproduct. So when you transform something like a Harmony house, inevitably you're creating community, and you want to foster that too, because it just makes the project so much better. But in terms of our passion, we love transformation. And I think in the next 10 years, we see ourselves transforming not just, dilapidated buildings, but maybe creating some experiences.
And speaking of lifestyle, tell me, like, how has this world of development transformed you as people? Like, what has it done for your own lifestyle?
I got this one.
Like, talk to me about lifestyle. I saw some traveling in your...
Nothing bothers Brenly. There's nothing that...
Resilient? It's like meditation? Is that what it is?
No, you just can't, because... and I say it's joking for Brenly, but it's really both of us. We've seen it all go wrong. Like everything that was supposed to happen in a certain project didn't happen. We've made money, we've lost money. So it's like, if you call Brenly and you say, hey, the roof's on fire, he's like, okay.
That's the only way to deal with it.
Let me devise a plan and I'll make my way over there.
It is what it is.
I'll see you in a bit.
He's like a stoic, right? He's just
right.
But you kind of have to be
calm down.
Like then he got a flat tire the other day and he just left the car and just worked. And I'm like, you're not going to change your tire? It's like, I'll handle that later. So it's kind of like you just handle problems.
Yeah.
A lot easier and problems never seem to be too big. So I think that's where you were going with that.
Yes. Something that was a problem for us maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
Now is something that we can solve for.
Right.
We certainly, I think, as a group, see things with a different lens. How can I say it the right way? There's no fire that's too big.
Interesting.
There's no fire that's too big, and everything could be achieved. You just have to start somewhere, regardless of what problem you're facing. And you know this as well. Let's say if somebody wants, a faucet on the roof, it can be done.
Sure, anything can be done.
Anything
as long
can
as
be
it's
done.
money.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's our perspective now. So we're much calmer
Yep.
than we were before. And we sometimes tend to be a little bit more pensive because we can think through certain scenarios, much quicker than we used to.
So how does that translate into your personal life? that calmness, that, that steadiness that the business has given you?
I think for my personal life, it's just, dealing with relationships. So in real estate development, you deal with so many different people from so many different walks of life. You could be talking to the mayor, and then 10 minutes later, you could be talking to someone who's complaining that you're not giving you're not giving jobs to the people down the street. So it's like, you got to be able to manage, those two different personalities. In addition to, you might be on the phone with a bank the next day, or 10 minutes later with a contractor. So it's like you sort of become this person that you learn how to deal with different personalities from many different walks of life. So when you're dealing in your personal life with a spouse, or kids, or family members, you sort of learn how to navigate, challenges a little bit better, or you sort of learn how to handle those relationships a little bit better, because now you sort of appreciate life, a little bit more, because, at home, you're with your family, you're at peace, you deal with so many things on the development side, that now when you're home, it's a different feel.
You can shut stuff off, it seems.
Yeah, you shut things off. Or if you're dealing with a family member or something in your personal life that they feel like they're right and you feel like they're wrong, you sort of learn how to deal with that better because of constantly dealing with it.
So you become more resilient, and you know how to deal with crisis better.
Deal with crisis, and also you develop, empathy as well.
Interesting.
For people, because then you
That's
can kind of
well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you kind of see where they're coming from. And, especially when you go to these planning board hearings, it's like the business owner's right, but then so are the tenants sometimes. So you kind of have to get that happy. I mean, not happy, but, like that. that
medium.
Yeah, like that fine line. So I feel like in the personal life, you build a little bit more empathy because of, constantly seeing different walks of life and dealing with different personalities.
Very
So it's
well
like
said.
stoic and empathy at the same time. You kind of have to be, morph into whatever needs to go in the cup.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be like water.
Yeah. I was.
He's totally right on that, because on the business and the day-to-day stuff there, he's right. One day you could be talking to a banking group, the next day an investor group, or maybe all in the same day, right? And maybe that same day, you need to get a sheet of sheetrock up the stairs, and there's nobody around to do it. So you
Take the suit off, roll up the sleeves, right?
You do it.
That's right.
So you do have to be dynamic, and you have to be, like you were saying, like water.
Yeah.
So
You got to be water, gas, or ice. You got to figure it out.
Yeah. Figure it
No, you took a different angle, because I was going like on a shallow end.
Oh,
Right. I was like,
that's so deep.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I like it. I was talking about like, how has it changed your life in terms of like,
I mean, I don't have a
traveling
Ferrari or
and-
anything.
not yet.
No Ferraris yet. No.
Well,
Okay.
on the traveling end,
I did see some nice trips though on
yeah,
on
we
your
like
social
to travel.
media.
He just came from Italy, I think.
Italy.
Yeah.
Celebrating his mom's birthday, and
yeah. So what it's done for us, very early in our company, we use the phrase unbox. So unbox to us was just like learning, right? Learning from all around us, even traveling. So we would do our quarterly meetings in different countries. So we've visited Brazil, we've gone to cities all around the US, we've gone to Dubai, Madrid, where we use our network at ULI.
Nice.
So we would first, email all these groups overseas and ask if they would, host us, and they did. Little did they know they were like two 23-year-old guys. It's just like we walk into a room and they're looking at us like, oh, I thought we were gonna get a big loan out of this. You guys are coming from, the New York area.
Right.
And it's
The
just
big financiers are coming.
right. We're just there to ask questions and treat them for lunch. But early in our company, we discovered that that would help us mentally expand our horizons. And then something that real estate's done for us also is you see things with a different lens. So I did just come from Rome, and just seeing the Colosseum was just different for me, because it's like, wow, the engineering that had to happen to make this work, and the tens of thousands of people that somebody had to align on a single purpose to get this done. And this is, I think it's over 2,000 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Or like the culture, because the Colosseum was their version of a White Eagle Hall.
Exactly.
Like that was their entertainment.
That's right.
So just all that, and then just it becomes a rabbit hole because you're on the development side of things. It first starts off with construction, right? How'd they get this thing built? Who are the engineers? You know, whose idea was it? Then you start going into politics of the time. Then you start going into the history of the time. And you could read for hours on certain things, even on buildings, even White Eagle Hall. You could read the history on it and just kind of learn about the local history of the area and what created a White Eagle Hall.
Right.
So in terms of depth, I think it's given us a lot of depth with history, and Brenly was saying just being more stoic and more calm.
Yeah,
there's no fire that's too big.
That's an interesting perspective.
And we would love to do something international too, going back to the 10-year goal. That's something that we aspire to one day. Maybe we do something in Rome, or, you know, one day if the opportunity comes up, something that would be pretty cool for us.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like the video or drop a quick comment or question. I'd love to hear what stood out to you most. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, a quick rating or review goes a long way to reach more people who care about these kinds of conversations. And of course, hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening so you don't miss what's coming next. See you on the next episode.